Test, test, test. I think we're live again. I'm hoping to play a few more missions of Invisible Ink today. And, continue to try out this whole little streaming thing. And if you haven't noticed, I went ahead and found myself a little model. So I think that'll be a fun little addition. Look how much you can see me move around. Oh, I think I blocked my camera. But that's really cool. This is designed by, want to make sure I get the name exactly right, by Hana Nokami-sama on Twitter. Goes by Hana. Actually has a free model out, which is this one right here. Pretty excellent quality. As an untrained artist myself, I can't really speak to the quality of anything in terms of like art and VTube rigging and all the things that kind of go into that. Really, mostly a fan of that kind of sphere. Not super well versed on the technical side, but if you ask me, between that and all the other free software, running on VTube Studio, it's pretty impressive what you can do, literally essentially for free nowadays. You have all the other setup stuff like a computer and whatnot. So I thought I'd give the VTubing thing a try, because that was kind of the direction I was hoping to go in anyway. But baby steps, take things one step at a time. First do a first stream, and then maybe a first VTubing stream. Why not separate the milestones? So here we are. Hopefully, the first stream didn't go too badly, at least from a technical standpoint, I think. But hopefully the added load of a VTubing software and eye tracking and all the server connection stuff doesn't overload my poor, slightly dated computer. Hopefully playing an older game will help with that a little bit. And you might see my eyes start around, which maybe reveals a little bit about my monitor setup. I have a lot of different screens to look at here. But yeah, you can even see, assuming the tracking doesn't break, hopefully it feels a little more personal just with someone moving around, because that's me. It was just a little weird, because I tried to review a little bit of the VOD, just to see where you could improve, things like that. I think that would be, not sure how long I'll go with the streaming thing, really just trying to try it out and see if it's something I enjoyed doing, kind of as a hobby, and trying to share passion or exposure to some older games, just games that I really remember enjoying or think I would enjoy. I think it's cool how streaming can let you kind of share that with other people and maybe spread some joy around in the world. Anyway, that's sorry, I'm new tangent. I noticed so much in the brief 4 minutes of footage that I reviewed before doing this next stream, how often I went back into anyway whenever there was a lull, which is funny. It's not actually a verbal tick I have normally, so clearly just very, very nervous despite the layers of separation and I have erected here. But going to try and not use that word in that context, and I guess I will keep myself honest. So I will be thinking very hard, and I think if I shut down like I am right now, it's going to be to very explicitly trying to avoid saying the word anyway as a filler, because I do not know how to segue into the next line of conversation. I think when I'm not panicking, I do a little bit better of a job than that. I think that's mostly like a fight or flight conversational response, but I can feel it in the back of my tongue. Literally every time I finish a sentence, I feel like I've dragged on the topic too long and want to say anyway immediately again, but I'm fighting the urge to say it, although it'd be kind of funny to say it now. So yeah, last time we left off, we, just to recap, we did the tutorial, because I hadn't played this game in a really long time. I actually was scrubbing through different parts of the VOD, and I noticed at some point, obviously I was on the main menu screen, and I speaking of kind of like the first streaming and learning streaming aspect of this, I think the two things I noticed I don't know, begrudgingly, I guess, is a little embarrassing. The first one was just like, I'd obviously played the game before, but I hadn't realized how long it'd been, so I looked at the save, and it was sometime in like 2020, which for a lot of reasons feels like aeons ago. I'm sure anyone else would feel pretty similarly. I was kind of surprised by how much I remembered the mechanics, because I don't think I had like, watched too much gameplay of this or played it again since, because I do recall like having a few. I think I was never like good enough to like check meta strats or like see how long you could get on endless mode or anything, but I think I had a few good decisions that kind of paid off, even in the first mission, the intro mission that I think you always get. So pretty satisfied with that. No, some reassurance that my long-term memory isn't quite down the drain yet, or maybe I just have stored all of the important stuff, aka game knowledge, in there and thrown everything else out by now. I guess we'll see. So that's where we're at. We did the tutorial. Started with a few of the started with the kind of base agents. I think one artifact of having kind of my old save still there is I think everything is unlocked, and I'm pretty sure, just looking at the achievement list, that's kind of not supposed to be what happens here. Man, I'm getting so... oh man, the timer still counts down. That's crazy. I like keeping glancing at the timer because I'm pretty sure it's real time. I like severely doubt that I would talk so long without actually engaging in a mission that I would lose an hour, but you only get 72 of these per run, and then I'm at 61 already after the intro. It would be supremely tragic to like miss out on doing more missions if I randomly chat for so long that the real in-game timer like increments my time down. I guess just to explain, like the way the whole like run works is from what we saw in the intro, right? We're kind of in the plane now after our headquarters got hit really hard, by the megacorps, and so you have like 72 hours before this plane, which we unfortunately don't really get to see the inside of, as far as I remember. 72 hours before it goes down. Mission time is kind of frozen, but time to missions is kind of the big one in terms of like how this number generally increments down. And I see now that you can kind of hover over it to see a little UI widget to explain. You can see like amount of time before incognito runs out of backup power. So I forget the exact scenario when we're close to 0, but I'm pretty sure it sort of forces like a showdown either at 0 or maybe a mission shows up a little bit before that you have to go to. I don't quite remember. So that first mission, right, cost us like 11 of our 72 hours. So roughly, real precise math, 1/7 of our, and I'm not going to try and do that fraction live, 1/7 of our kind of total missions. Some of the missions are shorter, and I don't really know how much of this is like luck of the draw in terms of like geographical proximity. Like I'm sure, generally speaking, the missions you get are like never going to be kind of like as far as they could be. So we have a few choices here that are like 6 hours, 11 hours, I think 9 hours, and 11 hours. So if we were to do the 11-hour one after we finish, time kind of stops during the mission, but afterwards we'd come back to the screen and we'd get down to 50 hours. So you really want to maximize, and we did that in the first mission, like kind of maximize the credits that you get from each one that you run, because this is kind of like a hard limit on how powerful you are on the last mission, which is really the check to see if you've done well enough for the given run to win a campaign. And there's a little bit of a playstyle variance here. I'm going to try and remember to see what these missions do, but each mission is slightly different. You can see like really at a glance different companies, right? Different distances. There's actually different types of missions is probably the biggest one. Different companies kind of have different quirks that we didn't see too much last time because of how early the mission was, but is also another thing to consider in terms of like your agents or like what kind of challenge you're trying to see. So let me click on one just so we can kind of decide where to go. So here, there's this one.
This is a regional security office, so expect hardened resistance. High-level security operatives may have specialized gear that we can repurpose.
Okay, locate the weapon room, defeat its security to gain access to the item. Highly valuable. Okay. I don't like remember the exact like in terms of like what I preferred in terms of like risk reward, but this one is kind of telling us that we'll get like a really nice gear. I know we got like a nice program kind of from a shop in the first mission that we did last time. I'm gonna edit this title. I've made a mistake. I don't think anyone's caught it. That's very funny. I tested the. All right, no one saw that. I don't know what the history looks like, but I was looking at the side of my eye, just checking like stream health and things like that. I had done a private stream after setting up the whole vtubing rig to do. I thought I'd differentiate it for my purposes, so I kind of just typed test in caps so you can kind of see my file naming sense. So I did a quick little private stream just to make sure everything in the OBS stream was set up properly, which hopefully it is still. So I realized, yeah, that was still in there. I changed it, so hopefully by the time I see this, it will not reflect that. Anyway, I said it. All right, we'll try to avoid it from here on out. So going back to the missions. Yeah, you get like a nice item. I actually don't, there's a difference kind of between the programs you get to do the incognita hacking and I think like a gear piece. I think maybe like the nicest gear piece that we saw from the shop was like kind of the gun. I think it'll be something around that level or better if we go here. So something that like your agent can kind of wield to help them out. And there's different items other than like, like a weapon. I don't think it's necessarily like, you won't go into this and come out with like a med pack, which has like a lower credits value. Like we picked up one from a vault last time, but something along that lines. So level 1, right, kind of as hard as the last mission, which had still more guards than I expected at 3, but something like that. A similar level of difficulty. And then this company, Kelfried and Odin Weapons Foundry, they have like advanced weaponry and automated defenses. I think that involves stuff like auto turrets, which you probably have armor plating, some sort of complication like that. I wouldn't worry about like advanced weaponry on the guards. I'm pretty sure you get caught, you kind of die. So I'm sure that has some meaning, but the big one is expect like robots, and I don't remember exactly how they work, but I think that's kind of the quirk for that group. So that's that mission. There's this one.
Placed executive burning the midnight oil at this office with half the security detail that someone with that kind of access would usually have. Let's crack open his brain and steal his access codes.
Okay, so starting from the top, right, I don't think it's a straight like money mission, or like it's kind of a delayed reward. Like instead of a straight financial credit reward, if we're to succeed and like get to the executive, we get a vault access card. I think that actually entails a separate mission. Like I don't think we get like a vault access card. I don't think we immediately get like off-screen benefits where we went to the vault and we kind of just waltzed right in. I'm pretty sure we have to break into the vault elsewhere, so I think that would be like we'd have to look out for it as a later mission and also prioritize it. And I think if you don't, if we do this run successfully, obviously your agents get experience, and we'll also get some familiarity with how things work, but you wouldn't immediately reap the financial reward, which is kind of the big draw for this normally, unless you go out of your way again to, I think, successfully complete the other mission. So I think that's how this works, and maybe something to keep in mind. I don't know if more info will tell us. Here. Infiltrating here may yield greater rewards for future locations. So it's literally just the opportunity to do so. I don't know if that's like guaranteed, so obviously the setup of like delayed gratification, I assume, is balanced, and it's also a harder facility for this round of missions. I assume like it'll be worth our while, like provided that we can get that mission later. So something to keep in mind. And if we fail, we fail. That's kind of how these work. Just the end of the world, not a big deal. And then the quirk for the company in this case is they're like a factory to market wholesaler. So very, kind of the conceit here is that they ship really fast. So I think what this line of text means, not explicit, but you'll need to move fast in order to avoid detection. I'm pretty sure that just means that alarm level, which was, if you recall that thing in the upper right-hand corner that we saw last time, that is kind of like our our turn timer, so to speak, or sort of like the degree to which we've pushed our luck by staying in enemy territory, which makes our lives harder as we go along. I think it'll tick by faster and make things harder because we'll hit higher security levels a lot sooner. The first two didn't seem too bad. It was like security cameras, and then I don't think we like ever got like guards like added, which I think is a later thing. But that's something to keep in mind, is like how well you feel like you deal with that, because you'd expect to see more of that here. And then two other missions. There's this guy.
Nanofabs have advanced security protocols to prevent unlicensed fabrications. The fabricator at this location has been compromised, so we'll be able to construct a wider range of items.
I can actually remember this one pretty well. I think we're probably going to cross this one out almost immediately, but from the first mission we did last time, that kind of started our run, we actually hacked a nanofab terminal or something really similar in the first mission, where we both bought like programs and also had a chance to like buy items, and I think we did both. This is kind of similar. I think the difference is like kind of like this mission here, which guarantees buying more.
Most nanofabs have advanced
How do I
security
mute this?
protocols to prevent
Kind of like that other
unlicensed
mission, which sort of guaranteed a powerful item. This one gives us like the opportunity to buy not just one piece of gear, but like multiple pieces of gear, where the balancing factor here is the our presence of credits. We spent a lot in that first mission, from what I recall seeing from the numbers. So we could take this on if I was like new enough to fish for something specific that I feel like the team needs this early. I don't remember enough to do that, and I think we'd have to get a lot of the credits on the ground in terms of like cracking open safes, which there's a chance that it's not super safe to do that. So if that was the case, like we'd have to like run this mission for really no reward. So we'll probably cross this one out immediately. And then let's go to this one.
Server farms are used to develop new network security technologies. We may find code that we can use to improve our infiltration routines.
Okay. I don't... Has powerful programs. Yeah, we have a few of those. Okay, cool. Yeah, similar. The wording on the... on, like just the raw, like, objective rewards. It's like server farms, warehouse, advanced security programs that enhance incognito. I wouldn't assume that I would have to like pay for those, like if we like hack in, like if I like exploit the security vulnerability on like any other server that sells something normally, particularly software. Not that I do that, but in the theoretical that this occurs, most people don't have the decency to break through all your security layers, both physical and digitally, and like over networks and stuff, and then like leave you a payment, let alone like an like IOU, let alone like a payment. That seems like the same. We'd actually would have to do that in this case. So I think it's similar to that mission we were just looking at, which is the buying gears. This one's going to be buying programs. We have like a decent set. I don't think I think the thing that Incognito handles, which is kind of that like firewall tactical layer, sort of like breaking down locks electronically, to help us move through the map. That scales a little slower than on the ground, so even between this and the gear thing, neither of which we have the money for, we would want to do the gear one first, most likely. Mostly because like, if you think about it, like we had to sneak around guards and like prepare for them, and like of course it was convenient to like take out cameras and stuff like that, but ultimately like if you're surrounded by guards, like there's not too much the programs can do, I'm pretty sure, in most scenarios. Also, this one's well guarded, so even worse. The one thing it had going for it was super close to us, 6 hours, kind of like a lot of the farthest missions are double that, so we could have maybe like stuck this one in and maybe like kind of hop to this guy, but they're both like not that good. So let's decide between these two. So this one's kind of delayed payoff, right? We still wouldn't have a lot of money to do this kind of mission for, or guaranteed gear, which could make our life really easy. Really similar like distances. The reward, I think this one's obviously immediately better, which is probably what we want to like prioritize as mission 2, just thinking about it from like you have to like scale up, right? Like I'm sure, I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure that's what we'd like to aim for. And if we do a mission like this, like even if we had like a vault mission, like it immediately pops up, we like do that, and then we do the vault mission, which is like 10 hours later. We have a lot of money, and then we finally, you know, and like we don't get any reward like tangibly other than like the potential for more usefulness or power, right? Until we actually spend it somewhere, unless, you know, we see something on the ground, meaning like we have like a useful store on the mission, but that's not guaranteed. So I think we'll probably pass on this. Maybe it'll still be around later. Also, it has a higher difficulty, so let's do the, you know, a little further. I think between the two, like this one should be easier, right? One difficulty. I don't remember which one of the company quirks is harder. Again, this is like the FTM is faster, faster alarm level raising, which is not probably too problematic early, because I think the missions are, you know, if you're okay, generally easy enough to get in and out without having too much negative impacts. I don't think it gets bad till a little later. This one, I think, I recall, like, we might not have a choice in terms of like missions that are useful anyway, but I recall like the automated guys, like the robots, being kind of annoying. I'm sure we can't take them down, like even if they are like patrolling around, we might just have to avoid them. Hopefully like a level 1 version of this, kind of like that mission we did before. There was like company quirks where, you know, they were supposed to be like augmented, but it was so early that they were just guys, which is, you know, so hopefully this doesn't manifest in a way that stops us. So we'll see. I think let's go for this one, and like even if I don't know what the mission layout looks like afterwards, I think we might have to like get more over time or find another mission like the first one we did, which kind of puts more missions on the map. But I would be okay doing this one, and if we got some power, you know, going into this one, kind of depending on how much money we get. So let's opt for that.
This is a regional security.
We'll go here.
Corporate firewall down. Alarm response expected.
All right. Okay, so you get the guard office, which is where all the, you know, the goodies are, and then get out of here. And of course, you know, our sort of persistent secondary objective, which is to just get as much money as we can. Let me, why am I like instantly in incognito mode? I can play this way, but it's like a little odd, I think. So it's if you, is it because I'm holding Alt, or did I hold Alt like loading in? Okay, I toggled it. Yeah, I figured, I mean, the game looks like reasonably good to me. I like the design. I think this is probably a little less inspired overall, although it's obviously pretty useful for seeing stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't want it to play the whole mission that way if I could help it. Okay, so we landed in here. It would be crazy if there were, I'm pretty sure this layout of this room is like, looks like 4 pillars. I mean, you might see this in like real life, maybe not so, I don't know, square or like so like perfect. The 4 pillars and some blind spots here in the corners. I don't really think there's gonna be a guard anywhere here, so I think this one door is probably our one way out. So I might just want to like go up to it under the assumption that there is no one. And if there is, like, that's fine, because there probably won't be 2 of them, and then, you know, if I move and someone gets caught, the other person can probably bail them out. But I don't think the game is ever this mean. I'm sure there's no, like, oh yeah, you spawn, and our rules let the guard be in this little corner right here, so he can walk up behind you and blast you. But if it is, then we lose. So I think I'm okay with that. Alright, so I think there's only one way forward here, so let's just move. It's funny, I feel like I'm like thinking way too hard about these decisions early, but hopefully getting into the habit of doing that will, like, not clicking early just because I'm impatient and I've spent so much time talking instead of robbing the megacorps like the little digital Robin Hood in me wants to be. Hopefully, like, that's gonna build up some good habits, and like maybe I'm like so bold to think that I can even clear the game again on my first run. Even though I think I mostly did a standard layout. I don't. Yeah, I think the game is certainly easy enough to do that with if you kind of know what you're doing. You don't really need the other agents; they just add like a good variety. So yeah, hoping even though we played on the recommended difficulty, which the game is like a little intimidating about by saying it's like hard or like the hardest one without like adding extra unique quirks. Hopefully that's okay. So let's aim to beat it. So I'm hoping just to like make good decisions now when they're not necessary, and then when they are, hopefully we have like the like the muscle memory in decision making at least to make good patient decisions that aren't overly compromising when it can actually cost you the game. That being said, what I was literally thinking about was like, who should I move to the door first? And like maybe that might be too far. Maybe it doesn't matter, but the thought was literally like, if the game was too mean or someone was actually behind this door, I'd like the guy with higher AP, in this case Decker, because he's a little faster to have the movement. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in here, and given the layout of this room, I don't think there's going to be a door in those two locations, so let's go ahead and hack this. And then I think let's have International peek, use her AP, and then depending on how this room looks, I think Decker might be able to like charge through. Okay, that's not like that's like not the best angle, because like there could, that's like, right? Like that's a little. We also don't see like a door, so presumably like this path is so far like linear, and then it goes from like this room to somewhere else. There is like a world where like this guy's just like looking down here with his gun drawn, and there's not like guaranteed to be cover here. In fact, like given that I can't move over the bed and the crate and the wall, the walkway has to be here, which means there's definitely not cover. Well, okay. Well, if it's Decker, he can go invisible. And that would be crazy. It would be crazy if there was someone there. So we're just gonna move through. What are the chances? Oh, thank God. I'm like not actually sure at the moment. You like never know with this game. At least I don't. So here's another decision. Obviously, like we are pretty much boxed in. I'm not gonna check this corner. I'm pretty sure it's closed. Obviously, you want to like hide behind here versus like here. It's closer to the door, but if someone comes in here, it would be bad, right? But maybe I'm like, maybe we're just gonna be greedy and move to the door because. Why would I do that? That just sounds dangerous. Mostly because Decker can still turn invisible, and I think being that cautious is probably unnecessary given we have that out so early. But we could run into a situation which we did on the first mission where the first room we get into is part of a patrol route for a guard that is somewhere else but coming to this room. So in this case, there could be someone in, let's just say this room. He could literally be standing right there in that vaguely highlighted square. This route could be to go here. I think, even if that happens and we have both of our agents exposed instead of basically the difference between here, which is closer, versus, what is that, 4 squares versus here, which is in cover and wouldn't be detected immediately, which is 1, 2, 3, 5 squares, really minor difference. The difference being that, we could go invisible even if they see us, which I don't know if that's true, but I would want to know if it was true early. Like, if a guard comes in and he sees us and I can't go invisible because he actually shoots you on reaction, then I wouldn't want to play. I would want to know that, and either I should play that way the entire time and know that like he would shoot us so that we would always move in here, or I'd want to know that this invisibility cloak is like a catch-all, like that can really get Decker out of jail free. So if that's the case, I'd like to find out early and not like have to guess later in the run, because I'm trying not to look anything up while we play. I think it'd be fine just to rediscover stuff as we go. I'm sure I knew this at some point, but let's see. So we'll be greedy. We'll move International here, also kind of vulnerable. That was really why, by the way, like if it was just Decker for whatever reason, I would have been okay moving here regardless, just because more things can go wrong than just one person walking through the door. But you know, International was a little farther behind for a variety of reasons, and I wanted to move her here, even though it's like one movement, just because. So figure it's a good test case. Hopefully we won't actually have to see what happens, but if we do, it'll be a good learning experience. Okay, so nothing happened. So there's a lot of talk for nothing, which is fine. I'm sure it'll come up and be relevant at some point, and I'll be happy I said it out loud so that I will be thinking about it. Because I still actually do want to know if this invisibility cloak is like faster than getting shot by like a turret, because that would be useful to know that like Decker can put himself in very compromising situations, and I think given that he's a starter character, I'm sure that's what this is kind of intended to do. But I guess we'll have to see later. That being said, I didn't hear any guards, so I think no one was actually patrolling. I don't recall if there are the robot guards from this company patrolling this level. I don't remember if they make a noise that we see or hear in the game. They might, or they might not, or they might make a different sound. I'm assuming for now that they don't, so I'm assuming we're like kind of safe. Okay, there is a camera. So there's two options here. One is like open the door. This might be a person. The other option is to like move International up and see if she can detect a camera, because if it might just be the fact that there's like a camera watching this room at an angle. Also, this room also looks like it sucks, by the way. I haven't been saying these other rooms suck, but they suck. Having one way out is terrible, at least to me, particularly at the start, because if you run into any trouble, like you can really only lose ground, and obviously we have an objective to complete. I think this room might also be kind of like a rectangle with one way forward, and it sucks even worse. Like now it's not only that, it's also watched. But yeah, let's see if it's a camera. So I think if International like moves up, we can like kind of assume the camera's in one of the walls, probably. So she should detect if it's like an electronic thing, and if it's not, it's a person, which is trickier to deal with, because if it's a camera, we can just go to incognita. Okay, it's a camera. Perfect. So let's hack that. So see, by the way, I don't know if this will be true so quickly, but this one, the first mission had one firewall, and this one, even though it's also a level 1 security mission, it has 2 firewalls already. So like a much higher like power costs, double, right? That being said, wow, this room also sucks. It's literally a dead end as well, and one way out again. Unless this one square actually had a door, which I will never find out, I don't think. Okay, so it ended up being an empty room with a camera, but we pretty much had no way around that. Maybe at some point I'll test out what it means to actually get seen by a camera. I don't think it's like everyone rains down on your position, but I don't think it's good either. Alright, let's move to... So International can get up to here. Decker can get up to here. I actually would say, like, there's no need to like review our decisions necessarily, but obviously one thing, I think you can move through people that are your friends, so good to know, or your allies, I guess, so to speak. Who knows if, I don't want to assume, maybe International and Decker hate each other. They might be kind of different. This guy always pretends he's like in a detective noir film. Maybe she doesn't like that. That being said, if I had moved International first, and I didn't basically because she had been lagging behind, I just figured that Decker was further up, had more AP, figured he could move up to the wall and peek, but we actually lost an AP because, just from like a review standpoint, if International had moved up to the door and spent her turn peeking like she did on the first turn, we would have seen this camera and saved ourselves, a little bit of trouble, given that we would have hacked it. Not too important, but I think these games, they're again not that razor thin of a margin to win or lose these things, but they are won a little bit on the margins, and sometimes decisions like that can really open up, at least from what I remember, like I think winning versus losing. So I want to keep that in mind, mostly because that like line of sight she has is like so useful. Even on that first mission, she kind of maps out rooms. Like if you see a camera, like you have a little bit more information, like what the room probably looks like. So in that sense, she's like a very useful scout. Another reason why this start sucked, by the way, because like the big rooms that are linear, like this, what device would she have detected versus like had this opened up into 4 different ways? If you just choose a direction, she's gonna start like seeing like consoles and shops and stuff like that that just tell you more about how the map looks without actually being there. I don't know if she sees the electronic cards, if we see any, but we'll see about that too. That being said, let's move her. Oh yeah, see, like that is like a payoff. Like if nothing else, like you get to see that there's like a little wall there, right? Because the safe's never, usually against the wall. I don't know if that's true, but the safe is here, right? So we know, like, no one can be looking down from here or anywhere further up because their line of sight will probably be blocked. Maybe not here, but definitely here. So that's like says something, and it also says like this room might also not suck, but I think it's still like a linear path that maybe opens up this way. Just because I would have expected when International moved up that we would have seen maybe something, not a safe, maybe like a console over here. So I think probably not a door here or anywhere close, but maybe down the line. But I think what we see is like this shape leading leftwards. So let's try Decker. We might hack the safe, we might leave it to increase his AP gain later, kind of depending on what he sees. So give this a peek. Okay. So dead end door, I think. 2 doors here. If I move here, the 2 AP is actually kind of useful, not like terribly useful, but I could like hack this safe. It's not super expensive. And then I could hide behind given the way these doors are placed, like I'm assuming there's no door here, which that might not be true, and I might regret it. But again, want to test that invisibility cloak theory, so I'm kind of okay putting Decker in compromising positions this early. Not that I have anything against the guys as operator, but just like just to see, because I'd like to know how useful, I guess, as a catch-all get out of jail free card that invisibility cloak is. If it's like literally like no matter what he can kind of invisibility and get out of there, I think that's really good to know early, and I'll be a lot more reluctant to test it out if we're like 4 missions in. I think I would be like, well, I don't want to throw that around now. I've spent so long on it, so I'm more willing to test it out early. Is basically what I'm saying. And you can get out of a lot of stuff. I want to say the other thing. I had like another thought, but I'm like forgetting. Well, that's fine. I remembered, but I just hacked it anyway because I had to take a drink of water. So let's move him in there. I don't think there's a guard. Yeah, we were, not punished, so it's cool. I do regret not closing the door. Don't think this angle would necessarily reveal International, but it would have been nice to not have that be something I have to think about. But that being said, right, Decker, assuming there's a guard anywhere like this, they can't see him because of the cover, unless they go all the way down here, and actually they'll probably see International first, which was not my intention, but that's what would happen. The thing I was thinking about is like whether or not or I wanted to talk about, I guess, rather, was whether or not we should use root. I think the answer is to not use it because there's no particular reason to use it. It's essentially like a power loan, in that we get 6 power if we need it, and then it sort of counts down afterwards. We have too much power for us to kind of like cheat that cost, and by cheat it I mean like, let's say we had 0 power and then we root, and we spent it all down. If we didn't have this, we could, that -1 power wouldn't really matter if we didn't already have passive income. In this case, they cancel out, which is kind of bad. But if you don't have this ability, there's something to be said about like using the power immediately and then kind of ignoring the cooldown by floating like a 0 power balance. In this case, we have a lot of power, so like whether or not we're at 7 or 13 is kind of irrelevant. And if we need it, we can use it. So like we never have to worry about using it early unless we get some sort of benefit. So we'll just hold that in reserve until we either need power or we don't. I don't think there's any difference. Okay, so one little guard movement there. He also didn't move very far, which I found a little weird. Not that I wouldn't mail in my patrols too, but to be fair, I think the mission intro starts with like you know, security threat detected. Don't really feel like that's an inspirational performance, moving 1 foot down in presumably one room, but maybe he's had a long day. So we know there's someone in there, probably a guard. So I think, you know, International can't get up there and peek. So like moving her first isn't super helpful. I didn't want her to close that door just because I feel like it's a good habit, and I also didn't close this door. So I guess we'll start with Decker then, and maybe let's move International up here. Wow, I forgot to close the door. That's fine. I mostly wanted to check to see what electronics she might see. I know it's not like a lot farther, but you never know. So let's see. Oh, is this where we want to go? Is this the guard room, or is this just like a random laser beam? This might... Oh, wow, lethal. Okay. Okay, so these are a little different from the one that we saw last time. In that first mission we did last stream, the laser beams were, I don't know, like infrared, I guess, or I guess you can't see that. They were just laser beams, kind of like spy movie style, where they're not even that. They didn't even raise the alarm, or they didn't like set off an alarm. They would just raise it. We ended up turning them off. In this case, this one is lethal, which means if I was to move someone through it, I think they just die. So let's not plan on doing that. And it's connected to a grid. We happen to see the relevant grid at some point later. In that first map. We don't see one here immediately, even with like International's kind of like greater electronics site, so probably can't get past that. And we know there's a guard in here, so I might avoid like going through this room and might want to like scout out what this route looks like. I'll say the other thing is like the conceit of the mission. Like, how do I view my objectives? Oh, here, it's at the bottom. You know, what we're supposed to do is like locate the secure locker, you know, get the item that we scouted out and like leave. You would think, like, unless they're being tricky, like most people would design like, this is where the safe is, right? Like, this is where we keep the super mega prototype gun that stops the corporations. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think this might just be a randomly placed laser beam. So even if there was like a way to get past it, I wouldn't, strictly speaking, like value that route any higher than any others that we hadn't seen yet. That being said, we don't really have a way around it at the moment anyway. So I think for positioning, you know, we know there's a guard here. I know I called him out for being lazy. He might literally just be the IT guy looking at these servers, by the way, which, you know, that's fine. I mean, you don't really have to patrol in that case. I think this might just be his office with lethal laser beams in the back. Like, who doesn't want that? We'll probably just like position. It looks like Decker can reach the door, and then International can also reach the 1, 2, 3, 4. Can reach the door, assuming I didn't mess up her movement at some point. So we can put them both at doors and just ambush, and then Decker will have 1 AP left if we stash him in the corner, and he can peek. Also, the reason I didn't do this in any of the other doors, and I think even in the previous missions I didn't do this, but I didn't like stand in front of the door and peek. I think it actually gives you slightly better visibility, just the way like the angle of the cone works, but mostly because like if you encounter someone, like if you see that there's someone who would show up and like actually cross your path, I think you have to be on the side to ambush them like we did to that guard in the first mission. I don't think you can be right in front of them, which, to be fair, a little harder to ambush someone when you're standing kind of right in front of them. But you know, that's something I don't actually want to confirm. That seems like it's a little too precarious. So let's see what's behind this door number 2. Okay, I see a console, and this is like where the reinforcements come from, which we hopefully never have to worry about on this mission. But that's not a place that we can go to, and it doesn't look like there's a camera. Okay, we'll probably want to go through that way. But first, let's move International to her spot, and let's set them both to ambush. And I'm going to hotkey that from now on. It looks like M. And I think we're good. Okay, lots of guards. Also, maybe being a little unfair last time. That guy moved around a lot. Maybe he heard me. I kind of want to just like open the door. I don't necessarily think that means I would see if the whole area is safe, but at some point we're going to have to traverse one of these areas, and I think it may as well be the one with console power. Okay, I feel like decently sure that, you know, we can't see it, and maybe I'm talking crazy, which, you know, that'll probably happen at some point, I'm sure. But I don't really have the ability to draw on the screen, but if I did, you know, we can kind of trace the outline of how I feel like the room looks like. Like, I think it's like pretty sensible. Like, I think the room ends here, right? I don't think there's someone here that, maybe there's a door, but I don't think there's someone here that, like, because we heard this, we heard this patrol movement, so maybe there's like a door down this way that we would want to protect against, particularly if they, you know, enter this room at all. But I don't think that, like, for example, like, there's this big expanse that, like, you know, people could come down and expose this at. Like, I'm not super worried about these 4 squares. I do think it's like closed off. That might be a bad assumption, but I just feel that way, and I'm just gonna hope that's like my ancient memory banks talking. So I'm gonna move Decker into the room because I don't think anyone's like watching this spot. Okay, so an inactive camera. Yeah, so that's these are the kind that like turn on in the security level 1, it looks like. So not an immediate concern, but you know, if we end the room here, if we end in this room or any other room with a camera that powers on later, we'll have to, you know, at least start worrying about it, whether or not that's leaving the location or hacking it so we can stay around. But in either case, yeah, not super concerning right now. And again, like this happened in the last mission, because it'd be really impressive to finish the whole mission without having even some cameras turn on. We learned that you could get like a buffer, so like, you know, the security level 1 goes off. These cameras don't just like flick on and completely own you. They take 1 turn to boot up, so you have a little bit of time to react to. So, oh, okay. So I was a little wrong. I was gonna say something else, but I noticed this. You actually can't move through people. Your own agents are blocking. We can count. Well, I was trying to figure out if International could get here. I'm pretty sure she can. But I remember thinking earlier that, you know, they could move through each other, but I think it's just because she could have taken a diagonal path past Decker. I was thinking like Decker, you know, scout up here, and then International will probably like ambush this room, but I only want to do that if she can actually reach it. So let's actually confirm that. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So she can, and she can peek. So I'm okay with that. So let me move her up here to see what she sees, just the camera, and then we'll move Decker up here. And okay, like I thought, this is actually just like how we thought it would look. So now Decker can move up here and peek, and also ambush the door. So we kind of have another situation where, you know, two entrances, scary spot if there's just one of you, particularly when the doors face each other and are so far apart. But in this case, because we have a full team, or not a full team rather, but, you know, 2 agents, and haven't lost anyone at least, we can kind of protect each other. And yeah, so this is a guard elevator. I know I've been calling it that, or at least reference that this is where reinforcements come to. But that's why we can't open it. You're normally able to open doors, but it's mostly done by like the NPC enemies. The guards, I think executives is kind of like VIPs, and enforcers are maybe mega guards. I don't really remember. I don't think they're like an entirely different class of people that we have to worry about, but yeah. So this is where, like, when this ticker up here, the security level gets high enough, they start coming out of here, which, you know, sometimes you can, again, hopefully we finish this mission without having to worry about it, but sometimes you can run into a situation where these dudes start spilling out and making your life a lot harder by adding new guards with unknown patrol routes. But, you know, if we knew, you know, from our scouting, this elevator is here, and we were, like, really far, you can maybe say, like, oh, I wouldn't worry about it. but not super relevant right now, and hopefully not anytime soon. So let's actually make sure to close the door in this case. This one a lot more important than the other ones where we had like a kind of a single path forward. Mostly because like the guard that's like vaguely in this area, like I still am not 100% sure if he might like show up here or even walk through here. Hopefully not, because that's actually a third portal I didn't really consider in terms of like how vulnerable we are, but guess we'll have to see. The reason being, like, obviously we heard the guard like do one movement and then like another movement last turn. I'm not sure like how many turns it takes for a guard to complete like a given patrol. Like I don't think it's like 2 necessarily, in that like, you know, if there was us, I don't think it's like he's here and he like walks here and they like walk down there. I think it can be longer than that, like maybe up to like, I don't know what the upper bound is, but like 3 or 4, right? It could be like here to here to here. So I don't, you know, even though we've seen 2 turns where he didn't enter this area, there's certainly a possibility that he could. At least I think so, and I don't know for certain otherwise. I realize I'm using like he a lot to identify the guards. It's mostly because from what I remember, they're always male. So in this case, I just happened to remember that, but that might be wrong. So I guess they're just the guards in a more, I guess, amorphous sense. All right, let's move international here and peak. Okay. That safe is in like a pretty obnoxious location, given that we know that it's guarded. There's like at least one guard that potentially just... by the way, like... maybe we'll want to keep an eye out for this. I'd like to remember like if the scenery, I guess, or like the environmental assets are... like strongly unique across companies. This certainly feels like it, because the company's kind of like a security dispatch sort of feeling in like a dystopian cyberpunk world. So who's to say that your security guard company, armed in full force, doesn't have like missiles? But yeah, I think this kind of like missile aesthetic and like might be something that's unique to like a company, and maybe when we see the other ones, let's like keep an eye out for what those look like, because I think that's a cool little detail. Like obviously, like functionally, they're just cover of varying heights. Like I can't like blow them up, not that I would want to, in this instance, because we're so close. But it's cool to see like the idea, at least, that these companies are different in the way they are mechanically as well. That being said, I strongly suspect that this is kind of like a dead-end room with a guard and one safe, and we know it takes 1 to crack it, so it's probably not super valuable. Probably not that hard to get to, but you would definitely want to maneuver past the guard here. I obviously international can't go for it, but I might be interested in leaving this behind for now, when I'm not super confident that I can complete a mission. I will hack this though. That's like for free. I mean, look at that. It's so far. What value? Like, if I knew I could complete the mission with like kind of Decker pushing ahead by himself, and I had been playing the game a lot and remember that I could do that this early, I probably would like send International off to do this, and she could catch up, right, or go back through this way. I don't really have the confidence right now, and so I'm playing pretty conservatively, so to speak. So they're trying just to play a lot safer. Oh, there's probably another camera here. Wow, that's kind of obnoxious. I might want to move International up on the next turn. Or should I open the door? Well, okay. Anyway, I did it, but that one felt pretty normal. That didn't feel like I was tangenting too bad, or like panicking and tangenting backwards. I just felt like I was trying to get to a different topic, like in the very normal, like non-panicked way someone might say the word anyway. That being said, I don't know that, so like, next turn I probably will move her up and like kind of abandon this, assuming nothing goes south. If she takes out the guard because he patrols through here, like we'll send her down here, but like rather than dealing with that right away and like saying that like I can definitely do basically this leg of exploration and threat dealing with just Decker. I would probably move them in tandem. Also for reasons like, if this is a camera, it'd be really nice to hack it from a distance, for example. I like suspect it's a camera, so I think it's like harmless to open the door. I think the one decision to make... I'm not opening this door because I don't really feel like baiting the guard. Well, do I? Like because we can bait the guard. Like let's assume he patrols like back and forth. Obviously the one... No, you know what? I'm like worried he's like here and would like see her for whatever reason, and we won't open that one. That seems like a bad idea. This one I might open. I don't know, like I guess what I'm worried about is like he's here. Like in this area, and he can see this, you know, and then Angle is like, oh, there's someone to like destroy over there, you know, the corporate espionage agents. I don't really think that's necessarily worth. It's like not a risk I'm interested in understanding the mechanical outcome of, like I am with this invisibility cloak. So I'm okay just to leave it because the reward here is probably just the credits. Or, you know, potentially item. This one I'm a little more interested in just because I think it's a camera, just based on, like, the room layout mostly. And the fact that, like, there's a guard here and there's a guard here. Maybe there's a guard here too, who knows, but I want to say that's not likely. Maybe that's just gambler's fallacy, but we'll find out. Okay, almost certainly a camera, right? I think if it's a guard... Well, the vision cone feels like not a guy that's just, like, looking down, but maybe it was. But if it had been a guard, he would have seen this motion, and like we saw in the tutorial, it would have prompted him to investigate this square specifically, actually. And one other thing I actually am interested in remembering the mechanical outcome of is like, if he opens the door, normally if it's just Decker, like in this specific scenario, normally if it's just Decker, we'll close the door. Normally if it's just Decker, in case someone goes through here, that's why. But if it was just Decker, he would, you know, walk to the yellow square, which would be this one where my mouse is, and he would get ambushed, which would, you know, get owned, right? That would kind of be the end of it. But what I don't know is like, you know, if I opened the door and I'm the guard, I would see International, and I think he would just draw his gun. Or what I'm worried about is like, rather than investigating, something more alarming and more pressing has come up. You know, and that he sees an intruder. And I'm worried he'd forget all about investigating the useless square, and he would just put his gun at International, which is like actually a very tricky situation to deal with. Obviously, Decker in this case can go invisible while it's still up, and he could get rid of the guard. But in some scenarios, like let's say we don't have Decker, if that was the outcome, that would be crazy bad, because another agent, like if they could not walk through that one door and ambush him, normally you'd have to like go from one of the 3 blind spots a guard has. So like if it was that scenario where he like stops where he's like very protected because we can't get to that room, she would pretty much just be dead. I guess we could close the door. I don't know what happens when we do that. So would be interested in figuring that out at some point as well. But we're probably safe. I think are we ambushed? Ambush ready? Okay, ambush ready. You can kind of visually see it, I think. They don't really hide against the wall. So let's have them both ambush, and then the one thing that we're worried about, right, is if this guard like randomly gets very active and does a route here, International would be in a reasonable amount of trouble. We would pretty much have to have Decker invisibility cloak and like try and take the guy out, assuming he didn't have to ambush someone here. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, I think we have, you know, one out, right? Which is that, or rewind. But we only get one of those per game, or per run. Okay, so he looks like he kind of goes back and forth. This guy also kind of looks like he goes up and down. So he didn't go through, and we didn't draw him out, which is fine. I think we are gonna abandon this safe unless we have like a lot of time for some reason, which I doubt. I'm happy to leave. How many credits did we get from the last one? Like 120. Just doing the math, I think. It'll probably be something like that, which is obviously not 0, but you know, again, secondary objective. She has to challenge a guard, burn her one way of dealing with a guard. She's a little slower than Decker, and she's a very useful forward scout alongside him because of this like ability. Now that we are pretty sure this is a camera, right? She really should move like here and see the camera, right? And that's like very, very, very useful with this layout. Like, again, I don't exactly recall. Well, hold on, let's hack it because there's potentially some other things we could have done given what we saw on the alert. Okay, there was no real way around it. We had like some blind spots on the camera, like here and here, but there was like no way to make it fully across that room without getting seen. Well, if I was Decker and he'd like gone here, because I think that square was yellow. We can't go back, but I guess maybe it would have been okay because he could have moved here and been like, okay, I see the camera, so now we can hack it. That being said, some of the cameras like this one and this one especially we're in a pretty annoying spot where that isn't always the option. So because we have to worry about cameras and I don't know what they do, and I'm just assuming they're like mind-bendingly bad for us, let's go ahead and just like keep these two together because he can move further whenever we do hack them, and she can scout out things to hack, particularly things like cameras that would prevent him from making full use of his action points. The alternative obviously is like if we had just gone around, but that takes a lot of time. So we'll open the door. Right, we know it's safe. We'll move here. Move international here. We'll close this door. I think that's a reasonably safe spot from any potential view cones, but might move her up one more, and then Decker will peek. Okay, don't see any view cones, so maybe this area is empty. Not super clear. I think we can test it by opening a door. Okay. Okay. Also, side note, again, something to look out for, just because I'm curious and feel like one thing that I think is cool about I guess streaming in particular, since I'm trying this out for the first time, is like you spend just a lot more time like considering the game, including like the love and care that goes into the visuals, or even just like the thought behind like whether or not these are what's the word or what's the phrase, whether these are like specific to a company, right? Like kind of based on the theming. Kind of just happens naturally, I guess, just because you're spending so much time thinking about stuff or chatting about the game itself. Where normally we're kind of just focused on the decision making, or at least I tend to normally. So first off, want to keep an eye out to see if the other companies kind of have a different layout. But another thing is just like, yeah, it's cool. Like I feel like I played this game for like 10 to 20 hours at least, like doing runs, and like got really successful at like beating it on the vanilla, no extra settings hardest difficulty, and never really like made that observation explicitly in my head. And in reality, it's like kind of a cool thing that's in the game. And it's like a minor detail, sure, but I think it's cool. Like there's like logos, right? Like I just something that while I'm feeling reflective, I guess it's like at least one of the reasons I thought it would be at least nice to try streaming, even if it just meant like it's just a different way for me to experience games which I already enjoy like playing. And obviously there's like other aspects to streaming games that make them different from playing by yourself or only like streaming to like friends or people, but this alone was like, oh cool, like I played and like felt like I got good mileage out of this game and really enjoyed it, but like didn't notice that detail, and I can come back later and say, oh, that's cool. Anyway, that one was okay too. That was also okay, but I feel like I'm glad there's no anyway counter, but I will try to avoid saying it because now it's just starting to piss me off, to be honest, as a filler word, even though I've actually just substituted it with us, which is probably worse, and I think other like set phrases which are the same thing but feel less obnoxious when I say them out loud. Back to the game, like that's one right there. We want to evaluate if this room is dangerous, and I think it's not, mostly because the layout of it implies that there's like rows, just like the way this is laid out. That might not be true. Maybe this wall is cut off. This one obviously isn't. But it does imply like if there was someone here, I think you can see vision cones like even if he was in like fog of war. I think the game is maybe nice enough a lot of the times, or at least if it's cameras, it has been to say like, oh, someone sees this. I don't recall from the tutorial if that was true for like the guards, but I don't see that. So if I make a mistake going in this room, you'll know why. It's because they got misled or was wrong, I guess, about the way the mechanics work. But it's making me think like the room is safe just because I don't see like any red vision cones making me think like someone is watching it. So I will still take it one step at a time, but let's move in here. Also, someone will have to do that eventually. Okay, so I think it might be a square room that kind of has this aesthetic. And then the safe spot is either here, if there's like a door here, but then this door is obviously a lot more obviously concerning, or up here, or here, which is probably the safest, but obviously like a little further away from doors, which are obviously how normal people get their rooms and what we're going to have to do if we want to actually get to the security room. So I'm going to move one here, see if that changes my vision. There is... Okay, so that's like not great. Also, I forgot about that. Oh god. Forgot about... oh, jeez. I forgot about closing this door, and now I'm like definitely worried about like someone getting seen. Because now she's kind of like doing nothing, right? Like if a guard would come from either portal, they would mostly see her, I think, before she could ever ambush them. And one of the doors is open now, thanks to me. So there's like two doors here, and like, you know, we can choose between hiding here to sort of protect against the fact if there was a guard here, he might see us, or we could hide here to protect against, you know, where we are right now, to protect against this guard. Who I think maybe in either case, like, these are not full cover, which I think that's the difference between these two. I don't know for sure, but I think this means like they can't see you at all, like even if they're far away. And I think this is like if you're behind it, like we are here against you. This is making me want to like actually retreat, close this door, and like hide and see like who goes through here. Mostly because I think we have a lot of time overall on an easier mission, and also because like I'm a little worried that I don't really know how safe either of these locations are, and it's not robot guy, if there is one, like the robot dudes that are supposed to show up on these kinds of missions. I don't know what it's like to deal with them yet, so I don't want to find out, I guess. I don't know why I'm so gung-ho about like getting Decker into trouble in most other ways and using an invisibility cloak and like not here, but I just don't feel good about it. I don't know what to say. I think I'll move him back here for now. I think hopefully he still has a view of the door now that we like know it exists. Actually, no, I think it's because you can see this little foggle war on the tactical map. But I think if a guard goes through, we'll at least see it and maybe feel vindicated in our decision. And if not, like, it's only a problem to play too carefully in this game in like exactly one scenario, and that's if you actually spent so many turns on the map that the security level like cost you the game, and like not even like, you know, in a bad scenario, like we spend like a really long time on this map and one of our agents gets like caught or like killed, that would be bad, but like obviously you can still win from that scenario because the game goes on as long as someone gets out with the objective, I think. So there's no like, the only cost to being patient is that, and obviously that's like a real timer because it does get hard, and the game does get harder over time, and like potentially so hard that you can't win the mission, and like it might cost you like everyone, but you know, security level 0, right? Like so early. So for now, I think let's play so patient when we can, unless it actually costs us a run, and then we might revise our strategy, because overall I know this is a bit of a slower game to watch just because of like the deliberation aspect. Hopefully I'm doing an okay job at like explaining the thought process, because I feel like a lot goes into these moves, and of course you can kind of click randomly and go, or not even randomly, but you can click very like decisively and sort of formulate your plan as like the best of two options. But you know, you have a lot more time than you think for this, and I think that is going to be a good route to go forward. Again, kind of speaking back to like at the start of this mission, just building a good decision-making muscle memory. I think we want to do that for missions where it's harder, where even when the time pressure is actually starting to make our lives harder, that we, you know, don't compromise if the outcome of doing that is worse than having the time pressure stuff get worse. So we'll do this for now. And let's at least, I don't think it'll do anything in either scenario, but just in case, you might as well ambush. That's pretty much free. So like, I think this is the second time in a row, and I don't, obviously, you know, I'm not scripting the game. The game scripted the game. The dev scripted it. But this is the second time in a row where I feel like I've made a decision. In this case, we had a safe spot if I had just, you know, moved up here instead of going backwards or staying. But there literally was a guard who would have like compromised one of the two decisions that being slightly more forward would have gotten us. And we would have had to burn the invisibility cloak, not like kind of unnecessarily, right? So that alone, you know, the first mission I had a really similar scenario. Also, Decker kind of ambushing a door, where he was like, you know, the one case where there was a guard there, he would kind of get owned, even though it was the first room. Yeah, so he would literally been seen. This is a watch location, and not a notice location. And the difference here, by the way, is like might be kind of hard to see. Hopefully not too bad. But the color differences is there's like a red, it's like kind of darker red is like watched, which means, you know, really bad means your agent's like caught and actively seen. And they're in a bad spot where he gets to kind of train his gun, which you think you can maybe make it out. He's sort of holding one at the ready, which, by the way, very I guess fair enough given that they're kind of detecting us as intruders. But I don't think in most non-dystopian cyberpunk realities is pretty normal security guard behavior is to have your gun out like that. But I don't know, maybe it is. You could also just grab one next to him too, but yeah, so in these cases, you know, this is bad, your agent's caught, they need someone to rescue them, or they're dead if you can't get to them in a turn. Yellow, right, hidden, it means like in this case, like you can't see this particular angle, these two. And then these red ones are notice, which is kind of like the distraction. So if someone moves through it, it does mean he will deviate from his guard path, and like maybe, I don't know if it's true, he'll turn his head. I don't think so, but you know, if I moved like here, he would you know, the yellow box would highlight, and his pathing would change from whatever it is now to looking at this. Okay, pause for water. Gotta stay hydrated. I don't normally monologue to this degree, and I already drink a lot of water, which you may have already noticed, or fluid in general, I guess. Because I also have like a coffee, which maybe a little late in the evening for that, but can't. Sometimes you just need that caffeine hit. So we have like a lot of options here. Like one, obviously, like going back to the whole patience conversation, is just to like wait. Because he'll probably turn around, or we can actually observe and like see his path now, so like we would know if he would continue down this way or he would leave. But I think we can go around as well. Decker can't, because I think this is like too far, so I think we want to like observe just to see what he'll do, because like it's gonna be fine if we like end here going around, not going through this red zone, but it would be fine to like go around, assuming that this is open. I'm also assuming this is open, by the way, which would really suck if like this is also a box, because I don't think he can like, despite what you normally might be able to do, like he wouldn't be able to like climb over a trash can if it was here. It's like a full stop, or like a potted plant that's completely gonna stop him. Which, you know, so much for international spy man. That being said, assuming we can go around like that, if we end like here going around, it'll be fine as long as the path is like here, or even if he like goes down further, as long as we can get everyone to like this side of the room. But if he goes back, that's also fine. But if, you know, if he goes like this way, if he goes like from where he's at up towards the right, then it's a lot more a lot worse. So let's observe and see what he does. Okay, so he goes backwards, and cool little detail that I didn't remember, at least, is like he kind of tells you that this is kind of like precognizant, or what is the word? Like he sees the future, right? Like not only does he know how far, obviously I know why this is in here for gameplay reasons, it's very helpful, but he like even literally sees that the room is like, looks like this. That's kind of like godlike observation skills from everyone in Invisible Inc., right? Yeah, there was another option too. Obviously, if we had a more clear path, we could get behind him and like just ambush him or knock him out directly if we wanted to get rid of a guard and take his valuables. Might be too roundabout to do on this turn, and it looks like he's gonna leave and probably come back. So let's try to go around. Okay. So there was, the room was more of a square on this side, or like it has a outer path that's okay. So that's cool. So we can kind of like go this way, right? And he'll turn around and like, as long as we're not in this corner, and I think maybe even if we are, he won't necessarily see us, I don't think. So let's move here, and then here, and then here. Okay, so like, right, that's as far as we could move. Here would also be good if we wanted to like chase him down and like knock him out for whatever reason, if we were just like feeling vindictive. But realistically, we might have to catch him on his return loop. He'll turn around. Let's get International into the room, assuming, because he can't see the square. And then try and maybe station someone to ambush him, kind of depending on what this room that Decker is going to look at. Okay. A few things are like starting to be concerning here, which is like, one, there's a world where like this is where our primary objective is this route that we kind of abandoned, mostly because I sort of assumed that this door right here that I'm hovering over like was gonna loop around in some capacity. I no longer think that's the case, and so it's like possible that like this is just randomly the wrong route, which is fine. But it's like a long way to sidetrack back, just given the layout of the mission. Even if that's the case, I think it's probably still worth checking it out, because again, this laser beam thing sucks. Oh wait, is this like a... I noticed something that maybe reduces our fear. I think this is just a closed door, which I think maybe just remains closed. I think this is a... which I didn't notice before, and this just is a random lethal laser beam to nowhere. Like, not only like don't go here, or like you can't go here like in the game, but like you can't go here in the game again, I guess, because there's like a laser beam. I don't know, maybe in outside of like game, like in the narrative lore or something, like behind here is like something even more valuable that we can't get to. Otherwise it'd be a little hard to explain to your employees why you just have like death lasers to a locked door that no one can get through. I feel like that would raise a few eyebrows, particularly for the guy whose desk is in here. There is still a world where this door, or even this door, maybe leads to something that we need to get to, but I feel a little better about like the fact that this path probably has what we want. Okay, so we're gonna lose some AP on the table. That's okay. I don't necessarily want to let go into this room, mostly just because like if there's someone in there, like here, someone that patrols, like if it's like a big room, which it looks like it is, like someone could come from a blind spot really far away. So we're kind of putting ourselves in an unnecessarily compromising position in that case. So I'm kind of okay to ambush. He has a little more AP than normal anyway, so I feel like I'm wasting only a little bit here. He made a good move. Like, we charted this out, we got to see this, observe his path. We know that this room exists just because we waited and took the time to observe without getting compromised. So it's like a free scout in that sense. And it looks like we can probably move International here, but let's see.
Did you see that?
Oh my god.
Hey, what was that?
Okay. Alright. Well, that, like... We'll hack this because it's free, right? Yeah, so I thought that location was hidden, which it was, but to be fair, I guess you could see the door because he has eyes, but you never know, right? He has pretty limited vision to begin with, like he's like a nearsighted guard, like they all are in the Invisible Ink universe. But he saw the door open, which means he's going to investigate this square. As you can see, this might only be because we observed him, but the guard does show us like his route, which means you might be able to like ambush him, right? Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. Like, this is worth like testing, I guess, now, since like we've already what did I say? He's already like suspicious, so we might as well like take him out, because we can. International has a lot of movement. We could also just move somewhere else in theory, but he's gonna go down this way and like kind of looking like this, so I don't think this is a good square to ambush from, because I'm pretty sure he'll see whoever is sitting there, and I think, and I don't actually want to test this with International specifically because it'll involve some weird backtracking with the way this room is laid out, but I think he will get here and not get ambushed, I'm pretty sure. I think he'll just point his gun at her. That's kind of what I'm worried about. And if it is, if that is what he does, you know, Decker would have to come back and like take him out, which I don't want to spend a turn doing. So I think what we do now, let's see what happens if she moves one. Okay, it's 1, 2, 3. So she can make it behind here, and then Decker can kind of move here, and they can kind of ambush the door, right? And because he's going to move down like this, he's not going to see either of them anymore. He's going to be looking at this wall, and maybe we just don't deal with him. So let's move Decker here, and let's move International here. Cool. And like, you know, we get a little more forward too, right? Because I think before I knew that was going to happen, she was, oh, she's probably going to do the same thing. So kind of just a shame. But we can hack that. We'll have 4 power. We still have, you know, 14 out of 20, so a little bit of room for that. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have a lot of room to hack stuff. You know, I got Decker some bonus AP on a fresh turn probably, and we have some more details about this room specifically. Like obviously this console's here, but you can kind of see the walls, right? You see a little bit more about like how the room is likely made, right? Kind of stretches out most likely. Stand-in fabricator. We have not gotten a lot of credits yet, but we might be able to buy one thing, like a consumable. So we might want to drop by there. But let's see how this plays out. This is like the first time something's gone like quote unquote wrong in terms of like we've, I don't know, done something that I didn't intend that has manipulated the guards towards us. But I don't think it'll be a big deal. Oh, so he did see that location, by the way. That's something I wanted to see.
Nothing here.
Okay, so I think he'll like go back now, but I'm not like 100% certain exactly how. Like, who knows what route he'll take. Like, he'll probably go like this, right? There's like a few things we can do now, like thanks to that, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, you know, the sort of safe, we would assume that this room is safe, which might not be true, but like Decker could go here and ambush him now, right? Or like prepare to ambush potentially. But that room might be, you know, watched by camera or something else. We don't actually know at the moment. So I might be okay. I think we want to open this and get in there. Okay. 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 It says it's hidden, but I feel like I don't believe them based on what I see from the visuals. But there's no camera? Okay. Okay. I was a little curious about like the vision cones based on the layout of the room. But I think we're okay here. I thought there was like a guard there or like a robot maybe, like sentry that we didn't see, but it looks like it's just a camera, so we can probably hack that. We have the power for sure. And then yeah, and it's gonna give us full visibility into the room, which is maybe the more important detail there. So, you know, just a console, kind of a juicy one in terms of power. And we can check the shop. I think it's worth checking the shop for a few reasons, mostly because I think we're going to spend a lot more time here, and we might as well know what's in the shop just to kind of figure out if we should prioritize these credits. So let's move, or let's do this. Close the door, right? I also want to hack this to give Decker a little more of an AP boost. And we have some spare power anyway from here. So, right, he's got 2, I think, of the kind of triggers. So one more, we can get up to 2 more AP. So let's go ahead and we can hack this, right? We'll get 1 more power next turn to be at full. Move here. Let's see what we can buy. Okay, so we are a little poor, which kind of sucks. But we do have an augment we can afford, so let's see what this does. Oh, this is also pretty good. This is like Decker's Cloak with no cooldown, I think, if I understand this, but it just takes power, which, you know, we obviously have a lot of power right now, but on top of that, we have like a burst power in terms of that root program that gives us 6 power on loan. So I think those work pretty well in conjunction with each other, and you know, we can install this augment immediately. So feeling good about this, and we have a little bit of cash to play with if we wanted to sell the med gel potentially. You know, charge pack we saw last time, refill, med gel, I think accelerator chip. No one has the anarchy for it. We went over last time. No one on the team has anarchy that high, let alone 2. No one definitely has 3. And that power increased by 2 is not super useful, given how much power international already generates. Buster chip, probably similar. That's actually kind of a useful ability, is like a 4 power skill in terms of the programs we have, right? It breaks 2 firewalls, which gives us, you know, the equivalent of 4 power given our loadout for taking out firewalls. But we don't have the anarchy for it, but we can get it. We could level up the agents after this mission. International specifically has room for this. So I think we actually might have enough money to get this as well if I sell the Medgel. What's the math on that? 668. Yeah, we'd actually barely have enough credits even without doing anything else, as long as I'm okay selling this, which is kind of like a revive. I'm okay selling it. Normally, like, you get in a situation, it's hard to give someone a Medgel, but we'll, you know. Maybe I'll regret it, but you gotta make hard decisions sometimes, right? Who needs medicine when you can have a subdermal cloak? And this one we have no money for, but it is good, I'm pretty sure. Okay, Riot Dart. So it's kind of like a knockout for 2 turn with no armor piercing. It's basically the Neural Disruptor, but ranged, and I haven't seen like a range limit on any item so far. Maybe a few of them have them, but the implication I'm getting / remembering from previous playing is that probably just range is probably a line of sight, give or take. So that's pretty useful, particularly given like we just had the situation where it would come in handy. We really planned around that guard and raising a suspicion. We could have just shot him if we had this. But we're not that good of hackers. We can't steal this, so we can only hack the program to let us buy stuff like law-abiding citizens. So I think we'll get this and install it, and I think sell this and get the Buster chip. And then just have 1 more inventory slot for who knows, maybe whatever we need to carry later. But this is really useful, and we definitely have the power to spare, and it would help us proceed. I don't think the mission's gone that well in terms of like we don't know what we're looking for just yet. We haven't seen the objective or anything, and I think the cloak will let us get away with a lot given how much power we have in reserve right now. And in this case, right, looking at the bottom left-hand corner here, not everyone, but at least our 2 agents started with 1 augment. The first one that International has is the one that lets us kind of see that there's electronics through doors, which has been super useful. And we just installed the cloak, but everyone only has, or at least the agents we have, only have 2 slots. So even if we have a really useful augment later, and I'm sure there's, the 2 that we got were really good, I think. So even if there's another one later, and unless we get a new agent, which I know we can do, but I don't think we have a mission for, we'll have to pass on that unless the game lets us like replace one or something. And yeah, it looks like the math is right. We can sell this, which I do want to do, and get this Buster chip. Even though it's just dead weight for this mission, I think the ability to break 2 firewalls is basically the equivalent of 4 power, and it synergizes really well with what we have with Decker right now, which is that +1 or +2 AP rather on a hack. So sometimes we might just want to hack stuff just because, and being able to do that for free is pretty good. Particularly like, let's assume we had started the mission with this. This mission's already like not short in terms of 5 turns. It'll probably creep up to 10, I'm sure. So if we used it like very liberally, we would have had like up to 3 uses of it, which is, you know, the equivalent of 12 power in our loadout. So that's pretty good, I think, compared to this, which we'll only use once and only if things have already gotten bad. I think let's opt for doing something that advances our game plan, and we can refund it if necessary. So not too much of a cost. I just noticed there's like a buyback. I wonder if that's just for this mission, which it might be, given that it refunds the credits. It probably just like in case you sold something you didn't want to. I doubt we'll see this Mengel again for that price. It's a one-time sale. But this room's pretty much done. I think we have all the walls lined out, so we're here, and I think we got what we wanted from the shop, so I think that was worth it. And I think we're gonna at least take her to the door, and maybe not worth. I don't know what his padding looks like. I don't know if he goes back or if he does something random. So let's just leave her on this side, and let's take Decker, who now has a lot of AP. And if we really need 2 more, we can hack this or this arbitrarily just to give him that. So let's try and take him across here and see what this room looks like, because there are 2 options now for our objective. Here, if there's a door here that we never saw, which I don't think is the case, and here, which still holds some promise. Technically, it should hold about like 1/3 the chance, which I think it does. Or maybe less than 1/3. Based on what I know, it's I think they're about equal probability, I guess is what I mean to say. There could be other routes that we haven't seen. Oh. Okay, well that's not terrible. Wait, is it? I don't understand like how big this map is. Is it big or is it small? Like, is everything here or here? So what happened is like, oh jeez. This is the exit. Huh. I'm leaning back. I wonder what I look like when I lean back. I guess it's not too much like forward backtracking. Okay. That doesn't suck. Like, knowing where the exit is like good. Knowing that there's no camera here is good. Knowing that there's 1 guard that protects it is good. Not good. We don't have to leave yet. This is too early. We can leave. I don't know what happens if you like don't complete the objective. I know they're like primary, but I don't know if it fails the campaign as much as it's like you ran a mission for no reason, which is also bad because it still costs time, which we have a limited supply of. We don't have to find that out. I don't think. Yeah, I'm a little sad. We definitely have to go back, right? We definitely have to go back, and he's in the way. Like, he's in front of the door, which is like terrible, because normally he would be here if we hadn't set him off. He would have patrolled back, and we would have just been like, okay, like that's the exit, and we'll take care of it when we do, and let's head back. And now I want to knock him out, not just because we like knocking people out, but because it's necessary. But if we do that, obviously we get like valuables, maybe a security card if that's relevant in the map, but he will definitely wake up and like run around and stuff and like raise the alarm, and we definitely have to hack this now. Other things to consider is like if we stay around for a really long time, this is a really annoying, we know now that we have to go far enough back that we're in this area. This is a pretty annoying spot to like have to get to the exit through if guards start pouring out through here. We're fortunate in the sense that we have power and cloaks, but that didn't have to be the case, right? So that's annoying. But I think we don't want to waste any more time, because now that we know we definitely have to go back and then go back where we were because we get strong to like exit. So I think we need to take Decker here and ambush this guy. And I don't want to sprint because I think he'll turn around. I don't know if that's how it works. Like, it'd be cool to sprint and like take him out and have some extra AP because we're above our max like we tested last time, but I don't know. So I think let's just sneak up behind him, take him out. Let's move International into this room, and let's start making our way down this way because we have to. Well, hopefully we don't have to test the lethal laser beams. Alright, sorry. That sounds like it hurts. Wow, going back to like the conversation about stuff I just like kind of don't pay as much attention to when I'm thinking purely about like that guy was a threat and we took him out for the mission. That just sounds like it hurts. I didn't even notice that last time. Also, he just got robbed, to be fair. Like, presumably that's like personal money. Well, sorry. I know it's not your fault. Like, I might work for the big bad corporation too in this dystopian future. Like, I know you're just doing your job, even if you would shoot us, but gotta take those 80 creds. Sorry about it. Carry too much cash in this society, I'm sure. 80 creds, like that's almost, that's, what is that? 275 for a med gel? That's like little less than 1/4 of like 1.4. What is it? 14.4? Something around that number of a. Don't double check that math. Of like a med gel, which like saves someone's life. He's carrying a lot of cash, right? Like that's more cash than I carry. Isn't that kind of strange? Well, we're grateful. All right. Here's the next question: do we pin him? I think the answer is no for a couple reasons. He's definitely waking up, so there's no reason to delay that. He will run around. Hopefully he calms down. But we can't stop it. There's no way I'm leaving someone here for that long to pin him down. The big reason being, like, even if he wakes up and is alerted and runs around everywhere, we have a lot of power to cloak, and Decker can cloak. So I'm not super worried about someone getting cornered or caught by guards. I'm mostly worried about getting through the mission before, you know, we burn too much power, having to use too much cloaking, or we let the security level rise too high and let people come through these guard reinforcement doors. So let's just keep going, basically. Yeah, all right. Yeah. I just have to remember to close this door, probably. Don't think anyone comes through here, and I think it's fine to go ahead and hack this, because we might as well get visibility here. It's also not a bad camera to have, just because, like, it's, if we stay long enough where there's guards, it's going to be useful to know exactly where they went when they show up. Normally you might, you know, with that line of sight, if there was no camera here, or if we didn't have the power to hack it for whatever reason, that would be, we would not know out of these two directions where they went. Let's move here. I think, you know, no one's gonna cross this whole way. He's obviously out cold. Well, I guess we might come back from this safe after all, just because we have to do all this backtracking. Alrighty. I'm like revising, just because looking at the layout of the map, it feels like I still think this is a dead end, which is fine. But I think I'm gonna end my turn because this isn't, in fact, my thinking too much. Okay, there's a guy there. So I think, like, we might have to go around, and I'm starting to think, like, before I thought these were like completely closed doors. They might just be doors that open with that level 1 security card or something equivalent. I'm not sure. Like, these might not just be lethal lasers beams for no reason. There might be a way to get through here, and maybe like this door routes this way, and is probably where we need to go after all. Okay. I think International can probably sprint. Is that? Can she close that door? If she can, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that was. Yeah. I know. Yeah, that was terrible. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's fine. That's not fine. Do I rewind now and just rip off the bandage? That was terrible. I just blocked Decker. Why did I move her first? I moved her first because I wanted to see if her sprint would, like, raise any guard suspicions. Clearly not, but I am so dumb. Oh, get out of the way. Oh my, okay. So if I Alright, you know what? Let's save the rewind. We might need it. I think the tasty, that would be like the worst decision to rush of all the decisions I've not rushed so far. So let's leave it. I think we can win wasting one of Decker's turns. That's not fine, but we've already had to do backtracking. We have a good amount of time before things really get hard. Level 2 is just mainframe increasing. I think we're okay. That guard will wake up, but he won't start moving around until the turn afterwards, so we still have a little time there. And you know what? Look on the bright side. The team's back together. Okay, let's not make that mistake again. In some sense, despite her being slower, International has like a because of this cloak. Oh, she has to use a stim? I don't know why I didn't read that. Okay, wow. I was like looking for the button where to use it, but I guess she needs a stim item, which aren't useless, but we don't have one. We'll start to make you go through like what presumably is like a pretty difficult surgery, installing an invisibility cloak that's under your skin while we're on mission, but you know, we don't have we don't have Adderall for you to use, I guess. That sucks. Okay, well, regardless, she still needs to do this. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he's gonna... That guard is there in that room. I think he's in this other room. Let's ambush anyway. And I guess the next question is, let's go through here. Let's close this door. I still think this is a dead end, so let's only come back to it if we really need to. Let's go here and close this. And then let's move here. And I think we want to go this way. And if I'm wrong again, and for some reason it's here, well, you live and you learn, you know? I think that guard will come back through here, which is slightly inconvenient timing. I'd love to move into the room when we know he's gone, but, you know, we did waste that Decker turn. Which, you know, not the greatest thing in the world. What can you do? Could have ambushed. I just don't think he's going to go through here. Which, if he does, I'll cry. Okay, so he definitely is, like, in here. I guess the question is, like, whether or not he sees that, right? Because if he does, then he's looking at it. And if he doesn't, then we can go in here. I don't know what's special about a captain. I would usually suspect he has, like, armor or something, but it doesn't look like he does. And I'm pretty sure we could just move behind and kind of get him. Which I want to do for a couple of reasons, but mostly because I'd like for at least one of them to have their disruptor on at any time, and we can move here and ambush because neither of them are going to really get farther than that anyway. But I don't know how the cooldown works in that case, but if I use it now for sure, he will be down for the count, and we'll have the countdown ticking already. We can't get around this. We never saw the grid for it, the power grid. So I don't know where that is. Maybe it's like here, which would make at least a little bit of sense. So let's just take this guy out. And cool to confirm that that's like a pretty safe maneuver. Oops, don't ambush. Just knock this guy out. And we got him. Sorry again. And then let's see what he has on him. A little more money than the last guy. Okay. And right, so like the one thing is like if we have to use it because someone else comes through this door, that's fine, like on an ambush. But at least we have it available at the moment.
Operator.
Oh.
We've caught them mid-interrogation.
Oh, what the hell? Wait. I didn't know that's how this worked. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, to be honest. I always remember like going on like dedicated missions to get an operator, but I think we just got an agent. I don't remember who this is, but let's go this way. Also, what happens if I hit this guy? If I try to drag him, could you move? No, right? Okay, so it was I suspected last time it was like divide by 3 rounded down, and I think that's the case because she can't move it too. We could leave this guy. I'm actually okay keeping him pinned, just given what I see. Well, we also have some power to burn. How about let's do this so that he has a little more AP. And then let's start moving international back this way because I don't know where to go from here. I think this is the last unexplored area that isn't clearly shut off. Unless unless this is a door, which would be like very funny. I really hope is not the case. I was kind of expecting this to lead around, but maybe the safe is actually over here. So let's start moving international over that way. We had max power anyway. And then let's move Decker here for pinning. I know that loses us an AP on the next turn, but what can you do? Also, I can knock him out again, just because. I won't do that though, because we are nice people. I bet he's like, well, you took out the captain because you guys like free me? Okay, so he's pissed. That camera's doing some good work. Yeah, you know what? It was a secondary good reason to hack it now. I mean, all the firewalls increasing would have cost us more power on this safe, so we might as well unlock it here. Okay. Let's see what happens when I go up to him, I guess. Like, assuming this is an empty room, right? What happens? Free him, right? Who is this?
Polnet shows this courier is a missing persons report. His contractor has a reward for intact data recovery. Feel like being a good Samaritan, operator?
Oh, he's just a guy. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering why I didn't recognize him as an agent. So he's just a dude. I think we can, he just needs to help us out a little bit here. Maybe you can pin that guy, because he'll have to make his way up here eventually, and he has no weapons. Huh. I kind of want to observe this guy. I'm mostly just worried he's gonna. Yeah, this is like what literally I was gonna move her here. This is specifically what I was worried about, is that he'll come down this way. That's particularly inconvenient for a lot of reasons. Mostly because we don't actually have an invisibility cloak like I want. He's gonna see us. But let's at least move her there. Okay. Well, let's see what's in this room. We really checked it poorly. Also, she doesn't have an ambush, but hopefully he doesn't go through here next. All our melee weapons are on cooldown, which means we're kind of in defense mode. Regardless, we don't really have a way to take care of this guy. Alrighty. Okay. Huh. Okay, so Decker can get back there and, like, we could ambush this guy again, which not strictly necessary, but he's in a fairly convenient location in some sense. Okay. Yeah, let's move here. I do want to test that this guy can, like, pin, which I think he probably can. And I think I'm going to assume that we're not going this way anymore again. He probably won't drag him, but this guy's going to wake up, so and he can't leave the room. So let's leave that guy there. He'll pin and he'll leave the room. And then let's do this. I think things are coming together. I think we have enough information to kind of get things going. Let's pull this guy, and we're going to ambush him again, I think, to kind of pull him down here. Because he's going to run here, right? And then, like, we can observe him probably. He'll face the wall. But we won't necessarily be able to, like, just enter this room right away, and we have to go in it. We might want to set up an ambush and, like, get the guard in here, get his attention. So we'll have, you know, International next turn, so let's have Decker just take this guy out again, which is, like, sorry, but you probably should have just stayed down. And then let's hope we don't have to backtrack in here. Let's hope, like, this really isn't anything. I don't think it is, but let's hope what we're looking for is here. And so, you know, leave this guy, he'll come and pin this guy, and then we'll get in here and get out of here. And do something like get the objective, which I think is here, and then backtrack all the way through and get out. And the big thing we want to avoid now is, like, the next security level 3 is going to bring out guards from this location, and they may be harder to deal with than the current guards, and they're certainly in a worse spot for us. Like, this is a pretty bad room given where the exit is. So let's yeah, let's do it that way. Well, I guess it's too late now.
You can run, scum, but you can't hide.
Pretty tragic. I feel like that's definitely gonna leave a mark in the morning. He didn't even realize he lost his wallet too. So other thing here is 1, 2, 3. Probably safe to sprint, but he can't, which is not fine. But I think he wants to do this for sure. That guy's gonna wake up, and then he'll have to move and either pin this guy or just kind of start making his way up here. We definitely we just like have to go in here. I just don't know if it's like safe. But I guess we'll see. Okay. Oh, oh, I see. Okay. This is still like kind of a choke point for us, but I think we wanted to go this way and then go back up. I remember thinking way back when this mission started that we were gonna leave this safe because it was in a bad spot. I wish I had seen this door. Obviously hindsight is 2020, but if I had been greedy, we probably would have found the item by now and we would have been long gone. But we might have missed this guy, so maybe there's a silver lining. So he presumably like goes in and like comes in this way. He might like here. So I think the safest thing to do is to close this door, and then unfortunately we're gonna have to move her like this. And then Decker, if he sprints, where can he go? Oh, can you? I guess what I don't know is if you can sprint and ambush after. Well, he can't because of the he is his thing. Okay, we'll move him here, and hopefully that's not a problem. But I'm worried about moving. Well, if the guard sees him, which they will, if he like comes out here and like, he might like. I'm trying to think about if like International could save him if a guard, you know, went through here, doesn't see her, goes and like aims the gun at him. Like maybe, right? Like it wouldn't surprise me, I guess. She can't move anymore. I really want to move him like a little further, but there is a world where like the guard gets in and like is here-ish, or even here. Well, here is fine. Here is like not great because then don't think she can go around and get him, and since I don't know what his pathing is, I think we'll leave it. We have a little bit of time. We're gonna have to deal with that other guard patrol, which sucks, but we'll figure it out, I'm sure. Oh, okay, that was not where I expected him to look. I guess going back to the conversation about the random lethal laser beams, his patrol is not necessarily effective. I mean, he's really mailing it in there, right? He literally is staring in the corner. But he goes back in. I see another door. Also, one thing to note is like this guy kicked that down, which is a little inconvenient. I kind of want to like peek, observe, and see if like he's gonna go this way, and if he does, we just kind of have to leave. And if he doesn't, we can pin this guy. Let's see. Where are you going? Okay, it doesn't tell me. Alright, pin this guy. And drag him just because you can. Okay. She is the one that's going to take him out, right? She pretty much has to be. If she takes him out, we've dealt with quite a few guards, so I think this might be a safe distance to sprint. Like, I think if there's 3 guards, which might be right at 1 security level, you know, go here, knock him out. Maybe even International can pin him depending on how much longer we need to be in this area before we go. And Decker, with his higher movement speed and maybe the freedom to sprint when this guard's out, he can get to the objective and get out with it. Okay. The alternative being like letting this guy alone or moving International up further because she's a little farther now and ambushing the guy. I don't necessarily think we want to delay in that way. So let's do this. So this is safe. Let's take you out. And then we might as well do this. He does have a pass card, which I don't think is going to be relevant, even if it opens this door. Okay, and then Decker. I'm assuming you can sprint, dude. That might not be true. Let's find out. Okay, it's safe. Alright, we gotta get out of here. So, I think you're just gonna have to go for it, bud. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. On the bright side, we know what cameras do now. Wow. Okay. That was not ideal. For a lot of reasons. Will he get there in one turn? Wow, that looks like a that looks like a guard elevator. That little bit of door, which means not only is this guy going to be here, who we're definitely going to have to take out now, and where the objective like almost certainly is, assuming this little strip of fog of war is you know, not, it's just a corner. Will he get here in one turn? Probably not. I hope not. If he does, we're in trouble, I guess. But a guard's gonna come out of here too, and a lot of our weapons are starting to hit cooldown level. Jeez. Okay. I would have preferred that didn't happen, but I didn't know how much hacking we'd have access to, so I didn't know that he'd have like all this bonus AP. Okay, he does have a cloak in the worst case. I guess option 2 is like, is it worth rewinding for that? No, I mean no one's gonna die, not yet anyway. It's a bit of wasted AP though. 1, 2, 3. How far? Let's assume it's like relatively straight line. That'd be like more than like 8 squares. Surely he won't go that far, right? Okay, we'll see.
Investigating.
Oh please. Oh my God. He's blind. Well, that could have gotten a lot worse. It didn't. In some sense, we actually drew out the guard, which, I mean, I think we're gonna have to keep a pin chain going. I think he's gonna have to drop that guy for sure, like without a doubt, and like go in here and start pinning this guy, because I think International is gonna have to pin this guy, because or Decker. I don't really care who, but they're gonna have to. There's another guard we have to evade, and the objective's like definitely in here somewhere. Well, at least he didn't turn left. It's kind of a useful thing to know pathing-wise, is that they can enter the door and you can just be inside of them, and like, if you don't have to ambush them, or if your melee's not up like ours wasn't, you can just chill, I guess. That being said, he's in the way of the door, so we do have to take him out. So I guess once more, sorry. Oops. Take that guy out, my bad. In a lot of ways, and then might as well take his money. We'll keep the card, we'll drop it if it's irrelevant, which I still don't really know what it does. That guy is gonna do something, and he's gonna probably move next turn, kind of like how the cameras work. We have another guard patrol next time. At least it's here. He'll like, assuming we can make our way back eventually. This would have been potentially a lot more disruptive, because depending on where the guard went, at least we can like deal with this guy or not, and then just leave, kind of just depending on our luck. But okay, is there another camera? Like maybe, right? Like you never know, but we really do have to rush this at this point. I see. This is a kind of a messed up layout, I'm not gonna lie. All right, let's hack. Oh, the firewall increase is hurting. Well, we have the power to spare now that I learned that the cloak doesn't actually work like I thought it does. Okay, so let's do this. I don't think they can see out of this, by the way. Oh man, is there a lot further to go? Because that would be really bad. Wait, what? Wait, what? I am so confused. Where do we go? Is it this way? Is it this way? Because that's even more messed up. You know? Oh my. Wait, this sucks. This is like terrible. Right? He's gonna wake up because he's gotta move. I don't know where this guy's going. These guys are gonna wake up, and there's only one way out of here. And if I move, he's gonna wake up, and this isn't the objective. So presumably it's here, because I still don't think it's over here. But... And we have to get back out. Wait, this is... Oh, man. This is, like, both the part of the game I love and both the part of the game that, like, hurts, I guess, because I don't feel like I guess I should have split up the agents more, maybe, to, like, cover this ground, but... This is, like, an exceptionally terrible zone. And despite everything, because I see the vault of money in front of me, I want to take Decker to go hack it and take the money, because we got to come away with something. But I don't think you can do that without not getting seen by this card. Oh, that cost a lot of... Okay, we might not do that, because... okay, let's see what's behind this way, because I just need to know if we're screwed, I guess. Let's take this. Okay. Wait, I'm so confused. Is this really like a... Is this really like the, Is this how the keycards work? Like, did I actually have to disable this laser grid and then, like, take this out and, like, the vault is here? Because if the vault is here, we're leaving. I'm just gonna leave. I don't particularly think we have the ability to handle this at this point anymore. Okay, I guess we're gonna find out after all. If... Wow, their stuff's used. Wow, this really sucks. Okay, we're leaving that safe. I'd love to take it because I think we're gonna try and leave and see what happens if we don't get the item. I think realistically we shouldn't fail because we still have agents. Like, obviously we failed the mission, but I think the campaign will go on. The item would be nice. I think even if this was the corner where it is, which I still don't think is the way the map works, if this is the way guard keys work and this is the door we had to open with it. We didn't see a guard key until late, anyway. And there was the lethal laser beams, which is, like, doubly bad. And now this guy's back. We just don't have the firepower to go this way, or even back this way, just because we know where the exit is. If we hadn't seen the exit, and this would still be bad, but we knew we'd have to go this way regardless. But I think the goal now is make out like bandits, I guess, if we can. I would consider sprinting here and like taking the money, and then maybe like invisibility cloaking out. Like maybe Decker can get away with that, but he might need it later, or we might just generally need it later because these guys are gonna wake up. So I think what I'd rather do is he might as well just like pin this guy, and then hopefully he's probably gonna go out here, which is very inconvenient, but there's not too much I can do about that right now. But let's at least pin this guy because we don't have the melee weapons to get rid of him, and let's try and figure out how we can get out of here. I would love to keep pinning this guy. I just don't know. Like, if this guy goes out here, that dude's super dead. So I might as well like move him here. He has some value, like maybe pinning. And in the really bad scenario, he obviously is a side objective for us, so we could just use him as a decoy. In the very, very, very worst case, because we're the good guys. But I think we just need to figure out how to get out of here, and I just need to see how that works. Or option 2 is to burn the rewind now because the situation is like terrible, and just leave now and see what happens. That would lose us like a little bit of money, which is like all we're gonna get out of this mission. Not that that's like a small amount, we got a pretty good amount, but that guy's gonna wake up. I mean, that's gonna happen regardless. I don't think these two are gonna be able to like sprint away, but we might want to just like get out of here. It sucks that this door is broken down too, because depending on where that guy is looking, I don't think that corner he can't look at anyone in this room. He'd have to be in the doorway, but he is going to cause problems. So like there's a world where like we play this out, right? Like, you know, maybe this guy runs it here, he wakes up and prepares to run this way, and we're still down here. Like maybe only Decker gets out, not even this guy. So it might just be worth like. At that point, you can't rewind, right? You rewind one turn. So maybe we just rewind now, and instead of going in here and taking the money, which is good, but like ultimately not what wins you the campaign. Winning the campaign is like getting to the end. We're like rewind, which sucks, but I almost burned it for an even more trivial use case earlier. And at least now we know, like, let's just get out of here, and hopefully we can make that retreat, because from this position, which is pretty much where we were, but with full AP, you know, we can like end up here, and we're almost sure to like not only be away from these guys, not be cut off when a guard comes in, because they're definitely, I don't recall if they like alternate in this case, but if he shows up here and we were like over here, we just don't have the firepower. There's just not enough guys. And hopefully this is like a good enough side bonus that I don't care too much about losing this money. Because I think there's a world where I play this entire pathway out and like, let's say perfectly from here, which is a funny thing to say given how this run kind of went haywire, or this mission went haywire. Funnily enough, from being overly cautious, I think is probably what happened. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's rewind. I think it'll take us back far enough where it's a good thing. Oh. Okay. I'm glad the cancel's on that side. Like, won't really do it on accident ever. Okay, yeah, that gives us a lot of time backwards. It's just not worth it. And here, like, we have a much... Like, he can go this way, right? And, like, that guy's only starting to hunt. And so, like, we can, like, get our agents out pretty safely. They can go here, right? Do that. Let's close this just in case. And, like, no one... Right, even in the worst case, like, this guy wakes up and sees this guy, like, I'm not happy, but these two people are the important ones. They're the ones that go on missions, right? So this is not a better turn. We lost a lot of money, obviously. But it is a turn. Oh, we lost 600 credits. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. Or it might, right? That's 600 credits plus the item. If that's the difference between winning and losing, we lost here. But I don't think so. I think there's a lot of chances to get the amount of power you need to win a final mission. So let's just hope this guy wakes up, is kind of stuck in the corner for a little bit. This guy doesn't run out here and see this guy through the broken door. Probably should have ended here. And let's just try and get out with these people. I think if he makes it through here, we're probably safe. Where is he looking?
What happened?
Okay, cool, the wall. Okay, we're good. Because he can get through here, and then yeah, they can go through this way. So we're gonna live, right? Just like actually, like, again, all that matters. We did come out with some items too, right? We at least had a store. I am desperately trying to cope with the fact that I have failed the second mission effectively, not by losing, but by getting almost nothing for it, which is every operator's dream when you're starting a fresh run of Invisible Ink. Because at least if I had lost the first mission, I could just restart. That's true here, but I actually am just trying to avoid restarting. I think it'd be nice to go through like a full playthrough if I can. All right, where does he go? I guess that's the question. Okay, so, by the way, I don't know how random that is, but like, you know, okay. Wow, that sucks. That was a worse pull for the guard too, by the way, because he didn't show up here. I don't know if he can show up here because we haven't seen it, but I think so, because we won't necessarily always see all the guard rooms. But I also want to know, at least with this RNG, whatever we did after the rewind, the captain did end up going this way, so I'm glad I didn't seriously consider playing the wait right there game with the courier. So at this point, you know, I think it's worth protecting this dude. So I'm probably gonna, you know, oops, I mean, that's fine. Like, he wants to go here, and then she wants to, like, do this, basically. And, like, ambush. And then let's, like, leave Decker close, because you can always get to the exit. But, like, this guy's slow, and we need to get him to the exit, too. I guess another silver lining, just in terms of remembering gameplay mechanics, at least, is, like, you know, we'll see, like, this guard come out, and maybe I'll have a better understanding of what it's like when we get to security level 3 and 4. I'll also say, like, I'm glad I didn't do the one that takes up the security level faster. just given like this early on, those guards didn't seem particularly different from normal, and the faster security level got bad pretty quickly. Or the security level just got bad pretty quickly, and I think it ticked at half pace relative to what it would have been if we had done that the fast alarm ticker one. All right. Okay, so he goes in here. I'm just kind of like assuming this would have happened. I don't necessarily think that's true. But wow, that would have been like a death sentence if we had played that out, right? They would have like been in here pinning dudes without their neural disruptors. We would have just been like dead, like completely dead. All right, he's gonna go. Let's leave him here, and then let's use Decker as observes, I guess, just to see where they're going mostly. Yeah, that would have sucked. Where are you going? That's fine for now. And then you're not going anywhere, right? Okay, that's fine for now. We'll leave it as is, and then if this guy gets in, we can probably get everyone else out there too. Actually, it's probably safe to move everyone now, just given how far up that guy is, and he's the slowest one. So let's move International here. So she's safe. She ambush just because it's a habit. And I think he'll take one more turn to get there, but I think we got out at least. And let's see what happens if we don't do the objective. I think,
We're checking things out.
you know, like from a big flavor perspective, we shouldn't fail. We should just be like, dang, that sucked. But I don't know what happens like mechanically if I, do this poorly on a mission like this. So let's just see. And we'll just leave Decker here just in case someone can get here, which shouldn't be possible, but you never know. And he's still exposed, so. Okay. Well, that guy's gonna make his way to us for sure. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. That's enough, I think. And let's see what happens. All right, extract. Yeah, I know. That wasn't my first choice game. I didn't forget the objective. I just literally played it in a way that didn't allow me to complete it, which was my bad. I was probably playing too cautiously. We got some stuff. I think powering up in general is still better than nothing, and we didn't lose anyone, which is a real setback. And let's figure out what happens with this guy. I think that we'll have to accept that. No other
Good job, team.
choice.
We should be able to stabilize him in the jet. I'm sure his contractor will be rather thankful.
Man, there's a lot of guards. Yeah, we spent a lot of money. Yeah, I'm aware. 300? I remember that in the future. That wasn't that helpful. I'm not gonna lie. That wasn't worth that more than the credits. And he's kind of some dead weight. I'm not gonna lie. He can pin some people. We'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna keep that in mind forever. We're the good guys, but 300? 300? A Medgel and a quarter? We'll see. We'll see about the future, guys. And we got some experience on the agents. There's that too. Okay. Oh, jeez. Is this, I guess, is it shared? I kind of want to, like, see. Like, if I do that, does he only have 88? Okay, he also only has 88 credits. Can I undo that? Okay, I can. We should get someone to Anarchy too. I guess the question's like who? Steel's just like who's like more sneaky? I really think it's probably Decker. She happens to have inventory room, so I don't want to like give him stuff such that he's always like loaded out, you know? Which is why I feel like we should raise the Anarchy on International, because she has like an inventory slot to play with. But I think realistically, stealing stuff, like the side benefit of getting Anarchy, not just using that buster chip, stealing stuff from behind, he's invisible. He can go invisible, like if we have that at the very end for a random reason, like we did there, and he can move further, which means you can go up to guard and like not knock them out, more likely. Let's give it to Decker, because I don't think we're always carrying stuff, and then maybe International can carry stuff most of the time. Then we'll do it like this. Okay, yeah, we'll do it like that. Oh, I didn't.
Me and Gladstone go way back.
I didn't even see this.
Did she ever tell you how we met?
I was her chief tech officer in the Pan-Euro Cyber Interdiction Force. We put up a good fight, but it was a dead cause. In the end, the corporations just had the most toys.
Okay, so we can stash or sell items with him, and sometimes he has stuff for sale, presumably. Okay. He doesn't have anything right now. Okay. That's fine. I want to keep everything we have. We don't have very much. Alright. That's okay.
Pattern analysis inconclusive. Please supply additional information and retry.
Damn it. We're running blind out here. I spent years building up our central network. We'd know exactly where to strike if we had that kind of access.
Power reserves critical. Entering standby mode.
Carry on, operator. We'll figure something out.
Alright, this isn't a super valuable mission. I think the next one we do is here. Again, just because it's really close, that 6 hours is feeling better than another 11 or 12 hour hit to our hours remaining. But I want to do a mission, but it is a little late. I didn't realize how long I've been streaming. Time actually flies by pretty quickly when you're doing both of these things at the same time. I do want to do this one next. I think we still don't have any money, so that's like kind of the same problem that I talked about when we were considering missions. We definitely can't afford anything now at either of these places. We have less money than before we did that mission. So we probably want to do this one. It's a lot closer now, so we'll have 44 hours left, so like maybe like half a mission's cost, just given distance. So we might as well not skip it too, just because these two things are so far. And we'll see what happens after that. But I don't think I can play another one, and I don't want to... In terms of like winning, I think I'd like to keep like my mental state for a given mission like consistent throughout. I think like playing in the middle and like trying to remember what I was thinking about is going to be hard, and I already didn't do this one very well, so we'll call it here, I think, although I did want to play a little more, but we'll call it here, and try and take this on next time and hopefully do a little better, even though the mission's a little harder in a few ways, I think, and then we'll see if we can get this some momentum on this run. But cool, yeah, that went okay. Again, I think on the gameplay side. So yeah, if you're seeing this, I hope it was at least a little bit of fun to watch, or at least a little informative. And so thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time I do this.